So how did a guy who faked his own death get caught because of one photo on the internet? Now this story starts with this guy. His name's John, and John is around 51 when all this begins. And he's living in a small seaside town called Seaton Carew in the northeast of England. And John? He used to be a teacher and a prison officer. Like, this guy has worked respectable jobs his whole life. He's married to his wife Anne, and they've got 2 grown sons. And from the outside, their life looks totally normal. But here's the thing about John. He's got this obsession with buying properties. Like, over the years, he's been buying up houses left and right, trying to build this little real estate empire. And at one point, the guy owns around 14 properties. Now that sounds great and all, except John isn't very good at this. Like, he's terrible at it. Most of these properties aren't making him any money. In fact, they're losing money. And over time, his debts just keep piling up until he owes about £64,000, which is like over $100,000 in today's money. And so John is basically drowning in debt, and the banks are coming after him, and he's starting to panic, like, what the hell is he going to do? And that is when he comes up with a plan so ridiculous that you'd think it was straight out of a movie. John decides that the best way to solve all his financial problems is to fake his own death and have his wife collect the life insurance money. So in March of 2002, John goes out in his red canoe off the coast of Seaton Carew. Like, just paddles out into the North Sea, and one of his neighbors actually sees him heading out. That neighbor is going to be the last person to see John alive, well, supposedly alive, because John doesn't come back. And pretty quickly, a massive search operation kicks off, like lifeboats, helicopters, the Coast Guard, the whole thing. They're out there looking for this guy, and eventually they find his canoe. It's smashed to pieces on a beach nearby. But they don't find John. No body. Nothing. And everyone assumes that he must have drowned, like the sea just took him. And so naturally, his wife Anne starts grieving. His sons are devastated. I mean, their dad just died. There's a funeral. People are crying. It's a whole thing. But here's where it gets insane. John isn't dead. He isn't even close to dead. This whole time, he's literally hiding in the house next door. See, John and Anne own 2 properties that are connected, and one of them has been divided into bedsits, like small rental rooms. And John is just living in one of these rooms right next to the family home. Like, imagine your dad fakes his death, and he's literally on the other side of the wall. That's what's happening here. And the craziest part is that Anne knows about it. She's in on the whole thing. She's out here acting like a grieving widow, collecting sympathy from friends and family, while her very alive husband is just chilling next door. Now here's where it gets even worse. Their 2 sons, Mark and Anthony, they have no idea their dad is alive. Like, Anne and John made the decision to not tell their own children. So these 2 boys are out here genuinely mourning their father's death, going through real grief, while both their parents know it's all fake. I mean, that is cold. So about a year and a half goes by, and in 2003, John is officially declared legally dead. And once that happens, Anne is able to start collecting the life insurance money. And over the next few years, she collects a total of about £250,000 in insurance payouts and pension money, which is close to $500,000. And so now John and Anne have all this money. But John can't exactly go out and spend it because, he's supposed to be dead. So he's just stuck in this bedsit next door, sneaking around, trying not to be seen by anyone. And this goes on for years. Like, John is living this secret life where he can't go outside during the day, can't talk to anyone, can't see his kids. He's essentially a prisoner in his own house. But at least he's got Anne bringing him food and keeping him company. Now, at some point, John and Anne start thinking bigger. They're like, okay, we've got all this money. Maybe we should start a new life somewhere far away. And so they start looking into moving to Panama, which, if you don't know, is a country in Central America. And so John gets himself a fake passport. He steals the identity of a dead baby from Sunderland who died back in 1950. So now John Darwin is walking around as John Jones, a totally different person. And in 2006, John and Anne fly to Panama together. And they're out there shopping for property and looking at tropical estates and acting like a normal couple. And at one point, they walk into this real estate office and they meet with a property advisor named Mario. And they're all smiling and chatting, and someone at the office takes a photo of the three of them together. And this photo, this one stupid photo, is going to be the thing that destroys everything. But we'll get to that. So they end up buying a property in Panama for about £200,000. And the plan is to eventually move there permanently and start a new life running some kind of tropical resort or something. But here's the thing, Panama changes their visa laws. And now, in order for John and Anne to get residency, they need their identities verified by UK police. And obviously John can't have UK police verifying his identity because, well, he's supposed to be dead. So John comes up with another brilliant plan. He decides he's going to walk into a police station in London and pretend to have amnesia. Like he's just going to show up and be like, I don't know who I am or where I've been for the last 5 years. So on December 1st, 2007, that's exactly what he does. He walks into the West End Central Police Station in London and says, I think I'm a missing person. And the police are like, okay. And they look him up and they're like, wait, this guy's been dead for 5 years. And so it becomes this massive news story. Like a dead man just walked into a police station. And Anne, she plays her part perfectly. When she hears that John is alive, she acts completely shocked. She's crying. She's overjoyed. She's like, oh my God, my husband is alive. I can't believe it. And even their sons are brought in to be reunited with their father, and it's this whole emotional scene. But the police aren't buying it. Like, they're already suspicious of Anne because in the months leading up to John's reappearance, she had been taking foreign holidays, transferring large sums of money overseas, and sold the family home, which is kind of weird behavior for a grieving widow. And then, here's the moment that ends it all. A few days after John's big dramatic return, some random woman is at home reading the news about the dead man who just walked into a police station. And she gets curious, so she goes on the internet and she does a Google search. She just types in John, Anne, and Panama, and boom, up comes that photo. The one from the real estate office. There's John and Anne standing side by side, big smiles on their faces, with the property advisor in Panama, and the timestamp on the photo says July 2006, which means that 4 years after John supposedly drowned, he was very much alive and hanging out in Panama with his wife. And this woman, she emails this photo to the police and to the Daily Mirror newspaper. And the next day, it's on the front page of the newspaper with the headline, and I kid you not, canoes this in Panama? And once that photo hits the news, the whole thing just falls apart. Like instantly. Anne sees the photo on the news and she knows it's over. And she says something to the effect of, my sons will never forgive me. And yeah, she's right about that. Because when Mark and Anthony find out the truth, that their dad was alive the entire time, and that their mom knew about it and lied to them for 5 years, they are absolutely furious. And I mean, rightfully so. Like, these guys went through years of genuine grief for nothing. So the police launch a full investigation, and it doesn't take them long to piece the whole thing together. They discover the fake passport, the bedsit next door, the money transfers, the property in Panama, all of it. And so, bam, John is arrested, and Anne, she gets arrested at Manchester Airport. And so both of them go to trial in 2008, and they're both found guilty of fraud. John gets an additional charge for the fake passport. And ultimately, they're each sentenced to over 6 years in prison. And here's the kicker. While they're in prison, John and Anne's marriage falls apart, and they end up getting divorced after 38 years together. So not only did this guy lose all the money, he lost his freedom, he lost his wife, and worst of all, he lost the trust of his two sons, potentially forever. And to this day, the John Darwin case, or the Canoe Man case as people call it, is one of the most famous cases of faked death in history. Like, it literally became a TV series. Multiple documentaries have been made about it, all because this guy thought he could outsmart everyone. But in the end, all it took to bring him down was one photo on the internet and a curious woman with a Google search bar.